Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Greater Miami Expressway Agency December 2025 Board Meeting. I would like to call our meeting to order at 9 a.m. I ask Board Member Cancio to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. You may be seated. Now I ask our Corporate Board Secretary to conduct a roll call of the board members.
Good morning. Board Member Blanco is absent today. Board Member Iglesias.
Present.
Board Member Peterman.
Present.
Board Member Rigo.
Present.
Treasurer Cancio.
Present.
Vice Chair Pages. Chair Perez.
Present. Thank you. I would like to set the agenda. The agenda has been distributed to all board members. Are there any requested corrections or additions to the agenda? All right, hearing none, no corrections or additions, the agenda is adopted. Next, we have the declaration of voting conflicts. Board members, please advise if you have any conflicts based on the items on the consent or regular agenda. Okay. Now we will move on to our public comment period. Any member of the public who wishes to address the board will be given 3 minutes to speak. Executive Director, have any members of the public signed up to speak?
Yes, Madam Chair. I believe we have one speaker, David Weston.
Good morning, Mr. Weston.
Advocate for brighter and better driver improvement messages on our electronic gantry signs. And I wanted to bring you up to date. I had a November 11th meeting with the man at the DOT who's in charge of DOT messages. His name is Fred Heery. And let me say this, he heard me, Mr. Heery. And right away, he issued some approved DOT messages, which is item number 2 on the report that I gave you. Don't be a turkey, we're thankful, slow down, and so forth. Now, this is exactly the kind of messages that I've been looking for on the GMX, bright messages that are based upon driver improvement. They are official DOT messages, so next Thanksgiving we can use them. Something that was disappointing with Mr. Heery, and I'll come back to that, is he said the DOT will never approve any messages in Spanish. And that ignores the culture that we have here in South Florida, in my opinion. I'll get back to that in a minute. Recently, right before Halloween, we had a message on the GMX board that says, your mummy says slow down. That was not my message. And in fact, that was not an official DOT message. That was a message that somebody, I don't know how, put on the message board. And let me say this is exactly the kind of message that I want. I don't want to complain about it. It's the idea that it's a driver improvement message, it's softer and it's more modern. Getting back to the last item on this about DOT approved messages. We have a Spanish culture here in South Florida. I've lived here for, I think, more than 50 years. And I think this year, for December, we should exert our true independence and at least have one message, Feliz Navidad. And the only way that we can get that, because it's not an approved DOT message, and Mr. Heery isn't hearing about this, I think we should authorize, the board should authorize the people that are in charge, whether it's Mr. Garcia or Randy Grice, that this year we're going to have Feliz Navidad. I don't think it's too much to ask. And that's it for me.
Thank you, Mr. Watson.
Sorry it's cold in here today.
All right, next on the agenda, we have the approval of the meeting minutes from our prior board meeting on October 21st, 2025. Board members, you have all had an opportunity to review the minutes from the October 21st meeting. Is there any discussion or is there a motion to approve the meeting minutes from the October board meeting.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any final discussion? All in favor of the approval of the motion, say yay.
Yay.
Opposed, say nay. Motion passes. We will now move on to the consent agenda. Our general counsel shall read the consent agenda items into the record.
Madam Chair, there are two consent agenda items today. First, approval of travel expenses for Executive Director Garcia for the January 29-30, 2026 event to attend the Team Florida annual meeting in Orlando, Florida. And second, approval of the amended investment policy to comply with Florida House Bill 3, signed into law May 2nd, 2023, with an effective date of July 1st, 2023.
Thank you, Mr. Gonzalez. Do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Move.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any final discussion? All in favor of approve of the motion, say yay.
Yay.
Opposed, say nay. Motion passes. Okay, we will now proceed to the regular agenda. I'll recognize our Executive Director, Mr. Garcia, to introduce item A in today's regular agenda.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Item A on today's agenda relates to GMX procurement, ITB-26-05. This is the system-wide signing and pavement markings maintenance matter. The item is presented to the board for approval of a contract with the lowest responsive bidder, APP&C Services, Inc. By way of background, on September the 22nd, 2025, GMX released an invitation to bid seeking bidders from qualified firms to provide system-wide signing and pavement markings maintenance. The scope of work consists of providing labor, equipment, and materials required to perform system-wide maintenance, installation, repair, and replacement of roadway signing and pavement markings in accordance with GMX and FDOT standards. GMX received 3 bids in response to this ITB, and I would ask our Chief Operating Officer, Mr. Diaferia, to provide additional background for the board.
Good morning, board members. So yes,
Morning.
this contract is for our regular maintenance of the system saving, signing and pavement markings. Our current contract is coming up to its contract capacity, and it's time to have a replacement contract. We did do a bid analysis, and we are comfortable with moving forward with the lowest responsive bidder, which is APP&C. This would be for a 4-year initial term with 2 one-year renewals that are optional, dependent on obviously the board's approval, and secondly that they have to have an excellent or better rating in their contract performance rating. The bid was received, and it was 34% below the engineer's estimate, but like I said before, we did confirm with them that they are willing to do the work as the bid. So we're comfortable with moving forward with the lowest bidder. The second bid came in only $10,000 above the first place bidder, which is a good indicator that this is a solid bid.
Thank you. Are there any questions on the item, or is there a motion to approve?
I'll move it.
I'll second.
Is any final discussions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion passes. Mr. Garcia, please introduce item B on the regular agenda.
Yes, item B on today's agenda is GMX procurement contract number ITB-26-07, system-wide drainage inspection and maintenance services. This item is presented to the board for approval of a contract with Flowtech Environmental LLC. On August 28th, 2025, GMX released an invitation to bid seeking bidders from qualified firms to provide system-wide drainage inspection and maintenance services. The scope of work consists of providing materials, equipment, labor, maintenance of traffic, and all incidental items and services necessary for system-wide inspection, maintenance, and/or repairs to the GMX drainage system. And I once again ask Mr. Diaferia for additional background for the board.
Yes, this item, this is a very critical item for us. This is the maintenance of our drainage system. We periodically go through the system for regular maintenance and then also in preparation for hurricane season. And this is a contract we utilize for it. This time around, unfortunately, we only received 1 bid, but it is the incumbent and they are performing at a very high level currently. We did publish it in many, many publications, and there were several firms that did attend the pre-bid conference. But we only received one bid. The bid was 63% below the engineer's estimate. But as discussed previously, we did do the bid analysis and we're comfortable moving forward. Most of the items that were low are items that are very seldomly used in this contract. So this bid has a 15% small business participation, and we feel comfortable moving forward with the incumbent given their past performance.
Thank you, Mr. Garcia. I'm sorry. Ferreira. Are there any questions on the item, or is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any final discussions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Motion passes. Mr. Garcia, please introduce item C in our regular agenda.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Item C on our agenda today is for GMX procurement contract number RFP-26-01. Design build services for system-wide intelligent transportation systems and toll gantries generator installation and power distribution. And staff is requesting board approval of the Technical Evaluation Committee's recommendation to select and enter into a contract with the highest ranked proposer, Artec Engineering LLC. On August 19th, 2025, GMX released a request for proposal seeking proposals from qualified firms to provide design build services for system-wide intelligent transportation systems and toll gantries generator installation and power distribution. The scope of work under this contract requires that the proposer design, furnish, install, integrate, test, and commission a fully functional and operational generator backup power distribution system for toll gantries on State Roads 836 at Northwest 107th Avenue and Northwest 12th Avenue, as well as specific ITS devices along State Road 924, 112, 836, 874, and 878, as shown on the concept plans and as described in the scope of work. Mr. Diaferia, please provide additional background for the board.
Yes, this is a contract that's in effort of the agency's push to make our tolling system and ITS system robust and redundant. Sorry. So there was 3 technical proposals that were received, and they were evaluated by 3 technical review committee members. And the technical score, the winner of the technical score, the highest score, was Artec Engineering. So this selection is based on a final score formula where 40% of the percentage of the scoring comes from the pricing and 60% comes from the technical scoring. In this case, the highest ranked firm not only had the highest technical scoring, but also had the lowest pricing. So they were the selected firm. We did a bid analysis. They bid $799,000. The engineer's estimate was at $1,038,000. Second place and third place were roughly just above $1 million. We did do the analysis and we're comfortable moving forward. They are providing generators that meet our standards and specifications, and so we're comfortable moving forward with this bid.
Thank you. Are there any questions on the item, or is there a motion to approve?
Motion.
Any seconds?
Second.
Any final discussions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Motion passes. Mr. Garcia.
Yes, Madam
Item
Chair. Item D in our regular agenda. As the board knows, Florida law requires that GMX undergo an annual financial audit by an independent certified public accountant. In addition, our trust indenture requires GMX to complete the annual audit and file the report with a trustee within 180 days of the end of the fiscal year. Early this year, the GMX Board of Directors tasked us with selecting an independent firm to conduct a financial audit of our agency. After 15 years of using the same company, we wanted to bring in a fresh set of eyes to carry out this work, and CBIZ was selected in April to carry out this important assignment. We are very pleased that CBIZ has just completed its thorough audit of the agency's financial statements and of the agency in general for fiscal year 2025. And today we have Mr. Scott Montgomery and Moises Ariza from CBIZ, and I would invite them to step up to the podium to present their report to the board.
Thank you.
Hello. Okay. Good morning. Good morning, Board Chair and Board members. My name is Moises Ariza. I'm with the firm of CBIZ CPAs, and we serve as the external auditors of the agency for the fiscal year June 30th, 2025. And as part of today's presentation, I am going to go through the draft ACFR, which you should have a copy of. If you want to follow along, I'll make reference to certain pages. So if you turn with me to printed page 10. You'll find our independent audit report. Right now, it's not on letterhead because this is in draft form. After today's meeting, there is the process of receiving a signed management representation letter, and then therefore we will issue the final report after today's presentation. In regards to our independent audit report, these financial statements are put together by your finance team, and there are certain sections within the report that we as a firm, as your external auditor, produce, and this is one of them. The first one being the independent audit report, which starts off with our opinion paragraph, which makes reference to what we've audited. And as mentioned here, it makes reference to the fact that we audited the Greater Miami Expressway Agency for fiscal year ended June 30th, 2025. The financial statements here presented also include historical information, but within the auditor's report, we do make reference to the fact that we did not audit 2024 in previous years, so that's known as a predecessor auditor that was audited by a previous firm. As mentioned by the executive director, this was the first year that CBIS CPAs served as the external auditor for the agency. The second paragraph, which starts off with, in our opinion, in terms of a financial audit, the conclusion that an auditor expresses is an opinion. So it reads, in our opinion, the accompanying financial statements referred to above present fairly in all material respects the respective financial position of the agency as of June 30th, 2025. And that's an unmodified opinion. And in terms of a financial audit, that's the only opinion you want to be associated with. In terms of a financial audit under US GAAP and government auditing standards, that is the highest regard that one could receive. So again, congratulations to the board, to the executive management team, and to the finance department. The second section of the document makes reference to the basis for opinion. That makes reference to what audit standards do we as external auditors follow. And as mentioned here, we follow auditing standards generally accepted in the United States of America. And because the Florida Auditor General requires us to do so, we also follow government auditing standards. And that produces a second report, which I'll make reference to at the end of the presentation. Following that, we have a paragraph titled Prior Period Financial Statements, again, making reference to the fact that there was a predecessor auditor that gave an opinion on historical information. And following that, we have responsibilities of management for the financial statements. So ultimately, we serve as the external auditor, but management is responsible for preparing these financial statements in accordance with what? US GAAP, known as United States Generally Accepted Accounting Principles. So that's what the purpose of that paragraph does. Following the auditor's report, if you turn with me to printed page 14, you have the management discussion and analysis. The purpose of the management discussion analysis is to compare historical information to current year. So starting on page 14 all the way through page 29, what this section does is compares current year activity, not only in a quantitative format, which is comparing fiscal year 25 versus 24 and 23, but also it's providing that qualitative information on what is driven or driving those financial indicators. On printed page 16, you have a comparison of your statement of net position, similar to what is known as a balance sheet, but in government accounting, we don't call it a balance sheet because the presentation doesn't balance. We start off with assets and deferred outflows minus your liabilities and deferred inflows, and then it nets up to your total net position. And net position is a term that we use for equity. Following the summary of statement of net position, if you turn with me to printed page 23, as part of the management discussion analysis. Now here we're comparing the summary of revenue expenses and changes in that position. Similar to a profit and loss statement, but the presentation is different under GASB. We start off with operating revenues, expenses, take into account non-operating expenses, and we end up with a change in net position of a positive north of 150 million for the fiscal year 2025. Following the MD&A, I don't know if this turned off, but if you turn with me to printed page 30, you actually reach the actual statements. So the first statement is the statement of net position, reflecting the current assets on top, the largest being your cash on hand, between cash and restricted cash, and also your investments. Following your total current assets, at the middle of the statement of net position on printed page 30, we reach the capital assets. That is the term that we use under government accounting for property, plant, and equipment. But in government accounting, it's titled capital assets. It includes both not only intangibles, but also tangibles. Noting that that's your largest asset because it includes intangibles for the right to operate the actual, which we'll go into as part of the capital assets. The net effect of your total assets and deferred inflows reached at 2.6 billion. If you turn with me, the statement of net position follows into printed page 31. You have your current liabilities segregated against your long-term liabilities, your largest liabilities being those of the bonds. And then we have net position that is composed of different classifications, the largest being your net investment in capital assets. There's an accounting formula to reach that amount, which is considering all your capital assets net of any outstanding debt that you have as of year end related to produce or acquire those capital assets. Ending result of your total net position of 1.4 billion. If you turn with me to printed page 32, we start off with all your revenues, the largest one being your total revenues. We consider operating expenses, and we have operating income of north of 166 million. Consideration for non-operating transactions, which are your investment income, interest expense, certain items relating to the disposal of assets or capital assets, and then we consider contributions from other governments and your income before contributions. Like I mentioned before, your positive change in net position was north of 150 million, ending at 150.6. Following the statement of revenue, expenses, and changes in net position, you have a statement of cash flow. The purpose of the cash flow is to show all the inflows and outflows out of your cash accounts as of year end. And what it does is it reconciles your beginning cash and cash equivalents to your ending cash and cash equivalents. So the amounts noted of 352.5 as of year end would tie to the statement of net position. If you're following along with me, now I'm turning to printed page 35. And on printed page 35, we start off with the financial statement footnotes. The purpose of the financial statement footnotes is to provide more robust information of all the amounts that are being reported within the statement of net position and the statement of changes of net position. We did with management in collaboration, we did our best to, in the first paragraph, to summarize the history in terms of the fact that GMX succeeded MDX and when that transfer of control occurred. So that's what we're doing on printed page 35. And following printed page 35, we start off with the accounting principles, telling the financial statement readers when and how do you account and report for financial statement transactions. Again, this provides a lot of granular detail regarding the financial statement amounts in the face of the financials. I just want to highlight two financial statement footnotes to bring to your attention. If you turn with me to printed page 51. Yeah, on printed page 51, we have what is known as a capital asset roll forward schedule, where we show the financial statement readers what was the capital assets on hand on the first day of the fiscal year. The additions columns reflect all the acquisition of capital infrastructure. The deletions could be reflective of construction in progress that is completed and transferred into a depreciable asset or one that has been disposed. And then you have your balance as of year end. At the bottom of the capital asset roll forward schedule, we reflect to the financial statement readers the activity between your accumulated depreciation, Accumulated depreciation is the depreciation and use of infrastructure. It doesn't reflect a cash outflow, but again, for accounting purposes, you do record what is known as depreciation expense. The other footnote that I wanted to highlight was note 6, and if you turn with me to printed page 55. This printed page 55 reflects what is known as a debt roll forward schedule. We show the financial statement readers all the debt that was outstanding as of the first day of the fiscal year. Any additions will be an increase in liabilities, reductions will be principal payments, and then your balance as of year end. What we show here is that there's 1.1 billion left in outstanding bonds, which further, in the subsequent pages, we show the financial statement readers history of the purpose of the issuance of the bonds, what they're used or the purpose of, and their future debt service payments. Following the financial statement footnotes, we reach, I want to highlight page 73, the schedule of calculation of net revenues and financial ratios. There's a minimum ratio requirement per the trust indenture to be at 1.00. So what we're doing here is we're showing the financial statement readers that ratio was exceeded at 1.45 and 1.47 for both fiscal years 2025 and 2024. So that's a requirement, some consider as a debt covenant requirement. And then at the bottom, we have a historical of going back 10 years of your schedule of revenues and expenses for the past 10 years. Again, required information that is required by the trust indenture to be audited. So there we're complying with the requirements of the trust. Following the page 73, we reach the statistical section. And these financial statements are showing you in the face of the financial statements fiscal year ended June 30th, 2025 versus or comparison to June 30th, 2024. The nice thing about the statistical section, which starts on printed page 76, it provides you this quantitative information for the past 10 years. So the Government Accounting Standards Board requires this section not only to start with the current fiscal year, which is 2025, but it makes the requirement for us to go back all the way to fiscal year 2016. So management has put together these schedules known as the statistical section, which are required by accounting standards. Following the statistical section, if you turn with me to printed page 95, earlier, I had mentioned that given the fact that we're in the state of Florida, the Florida Auditor General requires us to follow government auditing standards. This is our government auditing standards report, also known as our Yellow Book report. And on printed page 95, we explain to the financial statement reader what an internal control deficiency is. We define it between the difference between a material weakness and a significant deficiency. And as mentioned on the bottom of page 95, during our audit, we did not identify any deficiencies in internal control that we consider to be material weaknesses. We're not at the liberty to communicate material weaknesses in a verbal manner. We're required to do so in writing. And if there was material weaknesses in terms of internal controls, this will be the tool that would be used to report such items. Following on printed page 96, we have a report on compliance. There is certain tests that we do. It is a financial statement audit test when we're testing the financial amounts, but we're also testing certain compliance requirements, specifically with your indenture agreement, to make sure that you're in compliance. And that's why we did the ratio and also the calculation of revenues and expenses for the past 10 years and providing an opinion on such. Following the compliance report, the last section or page and report is printed page 100. And this is our independent accountant's report on Florida Statute 218. This is known as an examination report. So under state law, we're required to test your investment portfolio, not to test to determine if your investments are properly performing, but in order to test compliance of comparing your investment portfolio against your investment policy. So your investment policy drives what you as a board have accepted for the agency to invest in, what type of securities, and what asset classes and what ratios in terms of ranges. So one of the tests that we're required to do is to make sure that your investment portfolio complies with your investment policy. And as mentioned here, it did comply and we had no items to report. Separate and apart from this document, we were going on the day of issuance, we would also release what is known as a communication letter to those charged with governance. And during that letter, we would it covers several aspects. One of them being if we had any issues while performing the audit. And as mentioned, this was the first year that CBIS was engaged to perform the audit, and we had no issues. We had a quick turnaround with the process of the RFP. We started a little bit late, but your entire staff, want to thank Raphael, Sandra, Stephanie, and Christina from the finance department that were always didn't miss a beat and allowed us to do what we have to do. You had a quick turnaround given the fact that the state allows you to issue an audit in 9 months, but due to the trust indenture, you only have 6 months. And we were cutting it just because the process of the onboarding with the RFP process has that administrative process, but they allowed us to make sure that we completed on time, just given the fact that when you change auditors, there's a lot of information that we request. So it will get better just because we requested a lot of information this year that we won't have to do so in the future. But I do want to thank them for their assistance and their patience, just because we do ask for a lot of questions. And my colleague Scott is here with me today, but we have an entire team with about 5 people performing the audit, including an IT auditor. So again, I want to thank them for their assistance and making us accommodating our requests in such a timely manner. I said a lot. What happens next is that we're going to provide what is known as a management representation letter that is executed by management. The purpose of that letter says that to their best of their ability and with good intent, they provided us the information and then they did not withhold information from us. Once that's received, then we'll be releasing the financial statements early next week.
Thank you. I'm sure there's some questions. Who's first?
Well, I just wanted to thank you for the report. It's a very thorough report. I'm very pleased with the results. We're in strong position. I noticed that there was some small adjustment about a land sale from 2023. Why wasn't that picked up last year? Do you know?
I'll reach out to Sandra.
So what usually happens when you have auditors that have been around for a long time, and things like that would happen. And it was a good thing that you gave us the mandate to change, because the fresher eyes are the ones coming up and saying, okay, you need to tell us about this. And for us, when we get an audit, it's good and we feel good. But at the same time, when you get to new auditors and then when they're saying, okay, the prior auditor did that, but we still have questions. We had to go through a whole bunch of other questions and explain them. And this is one of the questions that was part of the prior audits.
Yeah. No, again, I think it was very wise of the board to refresh our auditing process and make a change, because after so many years of the same, sometimes things like this happen. So I'm very pleased with the report. Thank you.
Are there any other questions?
Yeah, I want to
Board
echo
Member
those
Pages?
statements. I mean, I think it was very wise of this board and the management team to change auditors. I think 15 years for anybody or anything in an organization is a long time. I'm obviously very pleased with the results. The results are it's very important for us, not only because it's required, but also because we're looking at some capital structure changes over the next year or so. So this audit goes a very long way to be able to support that mission. I do have a question on page 53, if you don't mind. I just don't understand what that is. And it's a insignificant issue, but I just want to make sure I understand what the Florida State University SBITA is.
So it's a SPIDA, so it's called a subscription agreement. So in previous years, the accounting standards would not expense. You would expense a SPIDA. A SPIDA is when you have access to a cloud or software.
Okay.
And because in today's day and age, we're going into software and not owning the software or purchasing the software, we're only given rights to access the software for X amount of years. We're able to capitalize it now.
Understand. All right, the only other comment is I think the board should really look at the page 76, 77, which is you call it the red report, is that what you called it?
Which one's the 76 that's the commencement of the statistical tables.
Right, but you gave it a name like a red report or something like that? It doesn't matter. I think it's a very illuminating page, those two pages. It shows what this agency has done over the last 10 years, predecessors and ourselves. And these trends are fascinating as far as net position change, as far as revenue change, over the last 10 years. So I think it's something we should keep in our back pocket and really understand it, where we came from and where we are today. I had not seen this before, and I think it's an illuminating page. Thank you very much. I appreciate it, and thank you. And I also want to, one more comment. I also want to thank the staff. I know you had a short amount of time, but I understand from the staff that the volume of information that you requested was something that they had not experienced in 15 years. So regardless of the fact that you had a short amount of time, there was nothing was short-circuited in this process. And you went out and asked for as much information as you needed to become comfortable with the agency. And I think that's a testament to this agency and it's a testament to your work. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, just want to ditto what board members Pages and Cancio say. Thank you, and thank you definitely to the staff. Thank you, Sandy, for leading that effort. Any other discussions, comments? Is there a motion to accept the CBIZ audit and annual comprehensive financial report?
I make a motion to
Any
approve.
seconds?
Second.
Is there any final discussion? All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed say nay. Motion passes. Okay, that's the end of our regular agenda, so I will recognize Mr. Garcia to present the executive director's report.
Oh, thank you, Madam Chair. And just once again, I just want to thank staff for all their hard work. And following up on the good news on the audit, we have some more good news for the agency. The board has tasked us with really working on our MRP scores, our maintenance rating program. And I'm happy to report that once again, our MRP score has increased to 93.14, which is great news for the agency. And that's about 13 points higher than it was 1 year ago. So that's great news. So thank you to the staff and to the team at GMX for helping us get that score increased. At the end of the year, I think this is good news for us. Also adding to the good news, I just want to report back to the board that we have finalized all sales of parcels to the Miami-Dade Aviation Department. We have closed on all of them, so I want to thank our staff and Richard Glass and Associates for assisting us in this process, as well as our general counsel. As a result of these sales, GMX has netted approximately $33.1 million from the sales. That's approximately $968,000 above appraisal. In addition to that, we collected the $13,205,984 debt that was owed by Miami-Dade County to GMX. And so this was tied into these sales of these parcels in accordance with your instructions. So at the end of the day, GMX collected approximately $46,316,000 in connection with these sales and the collection of the debt from the county. So again, that good news for the agency. Again, I just want to report back to the board that we did have an eminent domain matter that we had advised the board about a few months ago. That matter is now closed, and it was an issue where by way of background, in 2023, there was a sewer line that burst and it damaged the retaining wall along a ramp off of 836. Our agency's engineers proposed a repair of the wall by using a crane, and the plans called for the crane to be placed on the ground and sort of, the upper portion would swing over the parcel of this piece of property. We as the agency negotiated with the property owner, negotiations stalled, and that resulted in us having to file an eminent domain action. For whatever reason, the property owner did not contest the matter when we went to the order of taking hearing, and we obtained the order of taking, got a favorable ruling from the bench, and as a result of that, the agency paid the property owner $14,700 for the temporary taking, which was the value that originally our appraiser had placed on that taking. So we have that matter now closed, and I think we'll be able to do that. I think we got 4 months to do the work, and we'll probably be doing that within a couple of months, from what I hear. So again, another piece of good news for the agency.
Madam
Thank you,
Chair,
Mr. Garcia. You're recognized, Board Member Cancio.
is that the same location where we're seeking reimbursement from the county for the sewer problem?
No, that's a different location.
No, it's the same location.
Oh, it is?
The
Okay.
the construction that basically the modifications that arose from the leaking pipe is the reason why we had to utilize the crane to go over this property. So yes, it is the same location. It all stemmed from the same
Incident.
pipe. Yeah.
Right, so that's the 3 million that we have in dispute with the county?
Yes.
And how do you propose that we resolve that? Because they haven't admitted to liability. Are we gonna have to sue them, or?
So that's our last resort. We really don't want to get there. Doesn't mean it's off the table, right? There is a process that's in place. It's general practices in construction, where we file a claim. They come and evaluate the information that we provide, and we'll sit and negotiate. Ultimately, we are in the process right now of scheduling these meetings with the upper management of Miami-Dade Water and Sewer. If those discussions are not fruitful, then we may end up in litigation, but we really try to avoid that at all costs. So far, I think historically, we've always been able to resolve these things.
Thank you.
Thank you. Are they being receptive for now? No. Okay.
I think there's been some. I think it's just a matter of educating the new folks.
Weird.
I think some of the management that was there when this occurred is no longer there. So we just have to make sure that the new folks in charge understand what occurred and the evidence that we can provide.
Thank you.
Following up on the county, have they made their appointments yet?
Not yet, not officially, no.
No updates?
We have no updates, no. We have not received anything from the county.
How many are they entitled to? Two?
2.
Are there any questions? Any other questions or comments from the board? Remember, Peterman, you're recognized.
What was the score? You had an acronym R.
MRP.
MRP.
Maintenance Rating Program.
I really congratulate you, because to me, I think when you drive around, you could tell a GMX Expressway because of that. And it's happened for a long time, and I know our score was really high, and then it dipped, and now we're back getting close to, I guess, a perfect score would be 100.
Yeah, but that's very.
Come on.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
But I really congratulate you, because that makes a big difference, and I find that to be a very important thing.
I appreciate that. I think it's a testament to our team. There were some, like we've discussed in the past, some organizational changes that we did that really proved fruitful. We're utilizing. So we used to use an asset maintenance structure, as you all are aware. We switched to a more contract based. Now it's a lot more work for staff, which means that we're managing now individual contracts. But I think we're seeing the fruits of our labor right now, really, because we have tight control over what gets fixed and how it gets maintained versus having kind of a minimum standard. So it's been working pretty well for us. I will say that there's going to be a concerted effort in the next year or two. In the next work program, we're going to be really prioritizing painting the entire system and continuing that. So we're not satisfied with the 93, even though it's an outstanding score, and I'm very proud of it. But we want to strive for that 100. So there's going to be a series of projects coming along that are really focused on maintenance and renewal and painting and aesthetics and things like that. We are just in the process of finalizing our aesthetics manual. So we're going to standardize the colors on the entire system. So every single roadway will be the same color, same kind of palette, and that way it's going to be very recognizable when you see a GMX roadway and you feel it. And to that point, we're also going to be introducing some lighting features and maybe some branding opportunities. So more to come. I think we're heading in the right direction.
Yeah, and those capital type improvements like the painting and so forth, I think that those are really important. But the day-to-day, the minutia of just simply picking up trash, those kinds of day-to-day simple things, I think, are important. And the quality assurance that your staff is maintaining over our contractors, it's really good. And I want to make sure that we continue on that and that we prioritize just the simple stuff, the day-to-day things that are easy to think, that are not, that doesn't involve capital dollars.
Yeah, the amount of trash that they pick up on a daily basis is quite outstanding. So yeah, I commend the staff. It really takes a big group of people and a big team to really stay on top of them, and the contractor themselves. It is a lot of work. It's every day. You miss a day and it's evident immediately.
Madam
Thank
Chair.
you. It's compounding effect. Board Member Canty. you're
Thank you.
recognized.
You mentioned lighting. I just wanted to let you know that I drove, by the 836, 826, and they had the red, white, and blue lights on. They look beautiful. Do we have any updates on the policy, on the colors, who and how those are being determined, or do we keep those red, white, and blue all the time?
I believe that the instructions we received, and Secretary Iglesias may correct me, but I believe the red, white, and blue will stay up for a year.
If I may, so yes, I think GMX is following the department's bridge lighting policy. Right now, what we've done is we've tailored our bridge lighting policy to stay red, white, and blue for all of our structures until the 250th anniversary next July 2026. So I think GMX has been following suit, and it does look beautiful.
It does. Thank you. I was hoping for Florida State colors, but at some point we will.
Coach.
I was going to recommend orange and green, but,
We're not doing that. All right, next on the agenda. Oh,
actually have-
sorry,
I'm
Board
sorry.
Member Pages, you're
I have
recognized.
a couple of different items. I'm sorry if we can indulge.
No, go ahead.
Indulges me. I just want to make sure we go through, since the end of the year, it's the end of the year meeting. Claudio, can we get an update on the Miami River Bridge fender system? That's been on our radar for some time, please.
Yes, so I think we finally made some good progress. As you are aware, we had a lot of issues with the design that was initially submitted as part of the project. There was a lot of debate regarding the standards that were being used and whether it was going to be strong enough. So we're past that issue with the help of central office. We've gone through this process. We have now a new designer on board, and so we're going through the comment and review. So we've made some significant progress. So we anticipate to be in construction summer. Yeah, in summer of next year, we should be already full blown in construction and if not completed by the end of summer.
All right.
Follow up?
Next issue, sorry. Next issue. You told me the 9:10.
Oh, no, it's good. Go ahead. Follow up.
So you had a follow-up on that?
No, you do.
Oh, I do. It's a different topic now. In the bids, and we discussed it yesterday, I want to make sure that we openly have a discussion. There is a large difference between the engineering estimate and what the industry is coming in at. And I know at one point in time we were on the opposite side of that equation. How does that adjust? Because I don't want to encourage the industry to match our engineering.
Right. I mean, ultimately, it's a capital system, right? So it's market driven. But we have been seeing the curve start flattening out.
Okay.
Like Secretary Iglesias has mentioned, we were chasing the curve for some time. I think we're starting to see a little bit of a flattening, and if not a plateau. It's evident by the 3 procurements that the board just approved, which are all 3 of them underneath the engineer's estimate. So the good thing is that we always reference historical averages, and so we'll make adjustments accordingly. But the good thing for the agency is that we're finally seeing a flattening of that curve.
Board Member Iglesias,
I
you're
may.
recognized.
So, Board Member Pages, I think to Claudio's point, the department's seeing the same thing. We are, it is kind of a chasing the curve kind of system. We look at what the market is doing with respect to their bids, not only, in our region, but across the state. We kind of look at that holistically. We did adjust ours as well, and now we're seeing bids coming in consistently lower at the department with respect to our estimates. So it's a correction that needs to occur. But I think what we need to do to make that correction and adjust is make sure we have a good level of consistency in the bids that we're seeing and a good sample size.
Okay.
So I think that's where we're at.
All right, that's good news. That's excellent as we go into 2026. Are we going to do the financial? We're going to do that.
Yes, actually, that was next on my list.
That's the next
On my-
agenda.
yes.
Okay. All right, so why don't we do that, and then we'll discuss it.
Yes, we have our interim financial report to be presented by our CFO. Sandy, would you like to?
What you have in front of you is quarter one of fiscal year 26.
No, we don't have it in front of us.
No, we don't.
Oh,
That's the point.
it's in
Oh,
the,
it's in the package?
yes, yes,
Second to last.
yes.
Oh, it was hiding back there. Yep.
Oh, got it, okay, thank you.
So this is comparing quarter one of fiscal year 26 to quarter one of fiscal year 25. I just wanted to make sure that it's from July to September. And as we demonstrate here, there are some pluses and minuses. And most of the unfavorable and minuses are explained with expenditures that we expected to go up as a fear, as just the budget itself. We knew from the budget that the expenditures were going to be up. And for the debt service, we already have established schedules whereby we know how much we're going to have to provide for the debt service. But on the revenue side, that's the side that shows a little dip. It's a 3.6% decrease. And it's due simply to a shift from SunPass to toll by plate. That takes a little longer. It takes a delay in collection. We're watching it because the trend has started a couple of months ago. So we're watching it to see how we can help in that collection effort. But it's a shift from SunPass, where you get the money right away, and to toll by plate, where you get it subsequently several months later.
You're recognized.
I'm sorry,
No. Board Member Cantu, you're recognized.
So why do we see the decrease in the use of SunPass and more on the toll by plate? What do you think happened there?
So for SunPass, it's a whole bunch of things can happen. People may not buy more SunPass. People may rip off SunPasses and the little strip thinking that they still have it, and where it's not there. And also, when something is wrong, when you can't read it, you go to toll by plate.
I think it's a combination of things.
It's a combination of a lot of things that makes it happen.
Obviously, the registration holds hasn't helped the pursuit, right? We used to see much higher collection rates when the registration holds were in place. The registration holds have been reinstated. However, they're doing it in tiers, right, to not overwhelm the system and our call centers. So it's being reinstated, and we'll get there eventually. But I think some folks are realizing, or maybe not realizing, because they're not getting any repercussions to their actions, right? Before, if you didn't pay your toll at the end of the year when you went to renew your registration, you had a hold. And many times people just didn't know until they got to that point to pay their bill. So that will come back, and I'm pretty confident that we're going to see an uptick again. I also think that I think it's an educational issue that we're going to be putting not only social media posts out there, but we're planning to hopefully send a letter to folks indicating that, hey, something's wrong with your transponder, because ultimately these transactions that go through, they might have a transponder that they either installed incorrectly, or they ripped it off their old car and put in a new one, and they damage it, or it's obstructed, or whatever the reason may be. It's really indicating to them, hey, there's something wrong with your transponder. Because what ends up happening for us is a transaction will pass by, and we'll go through the whole process of doing the toll by plate, taking a picture, identifying who they are, etc., which costs us more money than a normal transaction. And then ultimately, we, as a courtesy to the customer, still charge them the rate, the SunPass rate, which is half of the toll by plate. So that's one thing. I think the difference, the variance that I think Board Member Pages was alluding to there, I think it's a combination of factors. One, the trend, like Sandy mentioned, is going the wrong way, in the sense that more people are using toll by plate versus SunPass. For us, we always want to encourage people to use the SunPass. Not only is it cheaper for us to process the transaction, but for the user, it's a tremendous benefit. It's half off, right? The other thing we saw and we confirmed is that in August, in the back office, the contract changed the collection way. We used to have two firms that did collections, and that contract was switched out for one that has 5 collection agencies. And the idea that the Turnpike has is to basically take the ones that were in collections, disseminate into these 5, and see who performs best, and then they'll take on the other contract, the main contract. So we have seen a distinctive dip in our collections rate in these past 3 months, and I saw the combination of that plus the trending in the wrong direction, I think, is why there's a delta or a variance in the revenues.
Thank you.
Any follow-ups?
Through the chair.
Just on the communication part, do we know what other toll agencies are doing as far as communicating to the user? Just interested to see, like,
So it's a mixed bag, to be honest
Yeah.
with you. CFX, for example, they send out those letters. They have a really good penetration rate. Leeway Toll Authority, they actually they bill the customers the other rate. They say we didn't catch you, we're gonna bill you the other rate, or they'll do an administrative fee, which is I think what I heard last. So we want to make sure that because we are centralized back office with the Turnpike and TIA, that we're one voice, because ultimately most people don't differentiate SunPass, whether they're on GMX or the Turnpike. So we want to make sure that we're on the same page and we're a unified voice in that. And so we're working with them to that.
board member
If I
Regal,
may.
you're recognized.
And this is still on the communication side of it. Do we have, how do you define our partnership with the tag agencies when it comes to SunPass?
It's a little bit complicated because more so in Miami, in Miami-Dade County, there's a lot of private tag agencies, right? So it's not just dealing with the DMV. In order for us to be able to issue registration holds ourselves, the transactions would have to come back to GMX, and then we would have to have an individual agreement with each individual DMV. So there's a concerted effort right now that's being discussed with Turnpike as well, and all the other tolling agencies, to have one group kind of represent all the DMVs and the tag agencies as a whole. But obviously there's fees involved because there's an effort involved in that, and so we're negotiating that right now.
Follow-up.
All right, couple of issues here. I commend the staff for coming back quickly and finding the issue. I'll be honest with you, when I saw this report and I had my briefing, this did create a little bit of an alarm to me, right? You don't see in a utility, at the end of the day, you don't see a 3% dip from one quarter to the same quarter without being some systematic issue involved. It's just not happens to be fluctuation. 1%, something like that could happen, not 3%. That's a huge number for us, and a huge number when it is an increase of almost 2.5% in transactions from quarter to quarter, same year, next year. So this is what raised my alarm. Very happy that we found what I believe was a systematic issue, is a change in the collection agencies, and there is a lag time and there's some process there. So I think that difference will be caught up. But it does raise my second concern, and my second concern is bigger, once it's systematic. The second one is, I know this community. If there's anybody, all of us do. We're all locals. We understand, I've lived in every part of this community and understand all segments of this community. I am very concerned with the shift from transponders to toll by plate. I don't accept coincidences. That's not a coincidence. Community is smart. The community figures out how to get around paying stuff. Maybe it's in my DNA, maybe it's in our nature, maybe it's human nature. I am super concerned on that issue, right? So one way or another, we need to work with Tallahassee, we need to work locally, we need to work with whomever, but we are toll constrained. That's fine. We've accepted that. That's part of the equation we promised the community. But we have a right to collect what we're owed, and we're not. And I think we need to be much more proactive in this issue. We need to be more aggressive on this issue. I think we need to set up a task force, and we need to follow multiple disciplinary process to figure out how it is we stop that trend from transponders to license plate, we have better teeth in our enforcement, and we turn this around because this is a risk. This is a really important risk that we can catch early, and we need to catch now.
I agree. There's some ideas on the table that we have, so we'll create the task force and we'll come back at the next board meeting with some recommendations. I think we already have some in mind. We've already been doing some preliminary checks in terms of our ability to do certain things legislatively in terms of having teeth, and I think we can move forward. We may want to start with a soft hand, just hey, this is an honest mistake. You might not understand that this is this, but ultimately, as the agency, it's costing us. So a video toll transaction costs us almost 5 times what it costs us to process a transponder transaction. So there's not only a benefit to the customer, but it's costing us.
And the state has, in this past legislative session, passed the issue about the things around the tag and cleaner tags and that kind of stuff. And I think that's relevant. I think we need to do some marketing and some social media posts on that, emphasizing the fact that that's illegal now. You need to remove anything that touches the plate process. But yes, I think this is something we need to consider.
Loud and clear. We'll come back with a concise plan.
Yeah, and just, it'd be great also what the other tolling agencies are doing and what the best practices are. Just take it.
I can, yes, I will. I can say this is not a GMX problem. This is
sure
a
it's-
statewide problem.
Sure.
Quite honestly, CFX I think does it really well. I think they're above everybody else, but they also have a different transponder. They use the Easy Pass. But we can see the numbers, and the Turnpike is facing the same issues. So is the Rickenbacker, by the way. So this is not unique to GMX. It's unfortunately
It's definitely unique to Miami-Dade County.
yeah. There's a lot of obstruction of plates that we're seeing that I think the law is trying to tailor back.
Madam Chair,
Board Member Cantor, you're recognized.
what is the cost of a transponder or a sticker? I know some are a lot cheaper than others. Did you buy it?
So there's actually an effort right now. There's the contract that we utilize right now is shared with the back office, and the transponder is what we call a CO transponder, and it's there's one source that provides it. In the recent years, there's different types of tags called 6C, which are kind of more the very cheap generic one, and multiple vendors have them. They're even to the point where I've seen them in Disney, where they put them under the cups so you can't refill it at the machine. So they're getting that cheap, and the department is actually right now gonna switch to that contract, but it takes some time to transition. So right now we subsidize a lot of them. So for the user, it's only $5. So they can buy them at certain locations, or in Publix or Walgreens. There's different locations where they can buy them. It's $5.
Couldn't we maybe, I mean, this is an idea for the board of maybe offering some sort of like a rebate?
We give them out for free, actually.
Right, I know we
did
give them
last
for
month.
free
When
some
folks
places.
come here and we have events, and Randy's done community events where we'll put the GMX tent and we'll give them out for free. What is important though is that we don't want to just hand them out and not have people register, because what ends up happening is we've seen that, right? We'll hand out 100 transponders and only 5 people register them, right?
All right, I would say you buy your register, we'll refund you or credit your account, for
So
the
that's what we did
$5
before.
or $10.
Actually, I wish Danny was here. I don't recall if we're still doing that practice, but there was a long time that you would buy it for $5, but it came with a $5 credit, so it was essentially free.
I think something like that would be beneficial.
So you'll come back next board meeting, some
Yeah, we'll come back with a
recommendations.
concise
Sure.
plan.
Any other questions or comments? Board
Madam
Member Peterman?
There are some tolling agencies in the state that if it doesn't capture the Sun Pass, the toll by plate is at the regular rate, right? Not the discounted rate.
Right, so we're the only ones that do that. We're only the ones that have a double rate. It's actually no, the Turnpike does it as well. But like CFX doesn't do it, Leeway doesn't do it, TIA doesn't do it. So everybody has their own toll structure.
They just don't have a discounted
Sometimes
rate for Sun Pass transactions.
They do it, it's just not double. Every tolling agency has their own toll schedule. They have certain discounts. It's just not as steep as ours. We're one of the ones that provides a 50% discount, actually 100% because it's half.
Okay.
The other thing we do is, as everyone's aware, is we cap our axles, right? 3 axles. So if a truck are the ones that benefit the most from having a sun pass, because we cap a truck to 3 axles, which is huge, right? While in maybe if they didn't have it, they'd be paying $13-14 every gantry. They're paying only 3 axles capped. So you're talking about, less than $2. So it really is beneficial for not only drivers but for the trucking industry. But I guess to answer your specific question is, there's other agencies that if they don't have that reduction, they'll just charge them a fee. They say, look, it's costing me more money to process transaction, and here's a $2 fee or $3 fee, whatever it is.
Okay. We'll hear back at, when you guys report back
I'll
next.
have a report of
next
of
meeting.
best
Thank you.
practices and what other agencies are doing.
Any other questions? Board
Let me just
Member
make one
Gon.
comment. I really do agree with Board Member Pages how important this is. This is such an important revenue stream for us. We've got to make sure that we're clear about any obstructions or any way that we might be losing money. So I 100% agree that we should focus a lot on this as well.
Will do.
Any other questions or comments from the board? Okay. So, next on the agenda, you're done, Mr. Garcia, right? No other? Okay, okay.
Thank you.
Our informational items, well, we did that already, right? The procurement report, yep. All right, so I guess we are lastly on announcements. The next governing board meeting is February 12th, 2026 at 9 a.m. I know we had scheduled a workshop for December. Scheduling conflicts came up, and we still don't have a January workshop date, but
I
we're
think we have
still
a
trying to figure
tentative
that out.
date on late January,
Okay,
tentatively for the 23rd of January.
okay. All right, I'm sure once that is scheduled, then we will properly publicly advise it.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Board members, well, happy holidays. Merry Christmas, happy Kwanzaa, all the great stuff. Happy New Year. Thank you for a great year. Thank you, staff. So are there any other questions or announcements? Staff direction, final comments? No? Okay, hearing no additional comments, I adjourn this meeting at 10:07 a.m. Thank you, board members.
you.
This meeting is adjourned. Contra.